Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Let's just have some biker talk, tell some biker stories. I'm waiting for a customer right now to come buy some handlebars. He's got a brand new bagger, young guy, college age. He wants to put drag bars on his bagger, whatever. I don't know why you want to be reached over while you're driving 600, 700 miles, but a lot of these guys are just around town with their baggers anyways. Let's talk about the biker bar. The biker bar. I don't drink anymore, but I used to hang out at bars all the time. I was in the bar scene 7 days a week. Very often you could find me at the bar at happy hour and still at the bar at closing time at 3 a.m., 2 a.m. I was a major drunk. You'd be surprised how much money you can actually spend out of your paycheck per week. It would shock me. I'd wonder, did I spend my entire paycheck on booze? I didn't even eat, barely eat. I was down at the bar one day with some friends. I was there with this guy, Dave. Dave was a big giant monster, 6'6", 6'7", 300 pounds. Kind of a body of a football player, real thick. But he was a master martial artist and fast. You'd be surprised, a guy that big. He looked like Bigfoot, he was so big. But he was fast. He could hit you like that, like a Bruce Lee. I mean, just bam. It was amazing to watch him fight. And I've been to several of his sparring matches, and he would dominate. He would just devastate his opponents. To where the whole crowd, even other martial artists, the whole room, the judges, everybody would just be sitting there in silence, like, what the fuck just happened? Oh my God. Dave was an owner of his own martial arts studio, so he had several black belts, and he was rather deadly. He was training in jiu-jitsu with, not the Gracies, with Shamrock, Ken Shamrock. Dave looked like James Hetfield from Metallica, but the old James Hetfield, back when he had long hair. And Dave had the same scraggly kind of lion's mane, and his face looked exactly, a doppelganger, exactly like James Hetfield. And anybody who's seen him at the bar, who meets him for the first time, would comment, hey, you look like James Hetfield. And he hated Metallica. He was not a metalhead, and he was not into Metallica. And he hated those types of comments. It was so funny. And he was tortured by this comparison. And Metallica was from a similar area. Metallica is a San Francisco band, I believe. I think Lars might have been from LA, but they were like a Bay Area band. So Santa Cruz is only an hour away from San Francisco, maybe an hour and a half. And so it's a similar area. He got so fed up with this constant comparison that he went and cut his hair. Fuck this shit. I'm gonna get rid of it. It's the hair. So no, I'm never gonna look like him again. And he cut his hair up, and he did like some kind of 50s kind of little do, greased up. And it was the same year that James Hetfield cut his hair. So Dave looked more like James Hetfield with short hair than he did with long hair. It was so funny. He's just destined to look like a guy that he hates. The funny thing about Dave was he was a horrible drunk and a terrible bully. You would not want to run into him at a bar because he would fuck with you. And it was funny as hell to watch. It was awful to be on the other side of, because this guy could kick your ass. What are you going to do? You get all pissed off and say, that's it! Dave's been waiting for this. He's a giant monster who can beat up anybody in town. He's just been waiting for this moment, so for you to stand up and think you're a badass. So he's there fucking with this biker dude at the bar, just teasing him, fucking with him. And this guy's big steroid goon. And the type of biker guy, some of these muscle biker dudes, they wear their vest. I don't want to call it a cut because I hate calling it that. It just sounds like Sons of Anarchy. But he's wearing his vest, and he's not wearing any shirt on underneath, just bare underneath. And the vest is just as tight as can be. And Dave is just pushing this guy's buttons, calling him all kinds of names and making fun of him and treating him like he's just this little chump. And the guy was furious about it. just going crazy. And they get into kind of an argument. He finally has enough and they get into an argument. And Dave has been waiting for this moment. I'm going to break both your arms and legs. Dave stands up. He's ready to rock and roll. He's just so ready to fight. That's the whole point of pushing people's buttons. And he found the biggest, meanest biker he could find, and he's just like, let's go, you and me. So they're ready to go at it. They're rushing towards each other. My roommate was the bouncer of the bar, also a tough guy. He breaks them up, tells Dave, you know, you gotta cool out, and then kicks the biker dude out with the vest, kicks him out because he was really drunk and he wasn't gonna calm down. Dave could calm down, this guy wasn't. So it was just a judgment call. A lot of times a bouncer has to make a judgment call of who's gonna go. Both of you, one of you, which one of you? He chose the muscle-bound biker, and that just set this guy off even more. It felt like it was unfair. He didn't wanna go. So next thing you know, they have to throw there's two bouncers. Dave's just sitting there in the corner laughing, and the two bouncers who are big enough to toss this guy out hard, and they tossed him out hard into the back, out the back door. I mean, I don't know if they threw him onto his face, but they threw him out of the bar. And this guy's out in the back just going berserk. You can hear him out there, and they shut the door, tell people, hey, leave through the front, don't go out the back. The guy's out there going nuts, he'll calm down. You hear his bike was parked right out by the back door, and he had a cool bike. I went out and looked at it when I went out there to go smoke a joint. He had a really cool old bobber, high mount Sportster tank, open primary, little miniature jockey shift with like a little 8-ball on it. And it was like a real pool cue that he had drilled out. I mean, a pool ball that he drilled out. And because you could buy those from like Jegs or catalogs, but he actually made one, and he had a lot of cool stuff on that bike. I sat and looked at it for a little bit and just slammed to the ground, low as can be. And he was a big, tall dude. So, I mean, the seat, when he stood next to it, the seat height must have came to his knees. At least, I mean, maybe to his knees. That thing was down on the ground. It was late at night when he got booted out. It was probably close to midnight. Maybe later. Not long after he left, we hear this banging on the door, on the back door. And the back door's been locked because he's out there going berserk. So we hear this bam, 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 bam on the back door. Now the bouncer is instantly annoyed that somebody is banging on the door. This better be the cops, because if it's not the cops, if this is just some customer or some average idiot, oh, we're gonna let him have it. And this is a rather tough bar. So he swings open the door. Fuck do you want? It's not the cops. It's this same bodybuilder dude, the same biker. He lifts his hand up like this. He's got skin from the knuckles down, regular hand from the knuckles down. From the knuckles up, it's bones, skeleton bones. I saw that shit. Looked at, all I could see when he put his hand was those weird fucking skeleton bones. This shit was so weird. It didn't even look real. And his eyes go wide, and he's had his hands up like this, and he fucking passes out right there in the doorway. And people rush to his aid. What the fuck, dude? What the fuck? Everybody's just like, what the fuck is going on? Major buzzkill. Paramedics came. They called the ambulance, all that, you know, they came. These fucking guys, big fat dudes, they come waddling in. You think the paramedics would be like, you know, running in and go in to save the guy mode? No, they just kind of waddled in. They threw their bag down. They wrapped a towel around, or some kind of shit around his hand. They nonchalantly went into the back parking lot and looked around with their flashlight. The guy came to. He was passed out, kind of in and out of consciousness. He came to, and he's sitting on the ground, and the paramedics are around him, and he's telling the paramedics what happened. I'm standing right there. He tells the paramedics that he gets thrown out. He gets on his bike, kick-starts it up, fires it up, and then has to reach down into the open primary, which is a chain, and adjust something. And he's got to go in between where the chain is. So he's got to reach into the bike. And I guess his fingers got caught up in the chain, and it ripped The skin, boop, 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 just ripped it right off. That poor guy. It was just another night at the bar. Thanks for watching.